Hey guys, Blake Hall here. Here to talk about one of my all-time favorite albums. That is Love's Forever Changes. This is a masterpiece of the '60s, kind of a hidden gem masterpiece of 1967. You know, a lot of big bands, of course, like the Beatles, Hendrix, and the Doors were coming out with their big masterpieces this year. But overshadowed by all that is this album. And I think this is one of the most pure, authentic explorations of what that year really looked like. You know, it kind of captured a light and dark side of psychedelic pop, really. It has a lot of light, airy moments, but there's always something really dark underneath the surface. And, just something about it that just feels like it almost feels like it's you feel like you're in the headspace of a guy who's almost deluding himself of his own happiness. He might be like some psycho killer. I'm maybe not that extreme, but, you almost like this guy's there's something a little crazy and, forced about the way the guy's talking to himself in a way. I think it gives the album such an endless appeal, an endless drive. And also, you can take it sincere too if you really want. Also, there's a real magic to the album. It's a really unique, one of a kind kind of magic. Very layered, very subtle. It's very subtle in its arrangements. I think that's what instantly grabbed me the most about the album. It's just there's a sort of a haunting, it possesses something of a haunting quality that just keeps me coming back to it. And you catch new things in the instrumentation. It's endlessly gorgeous and haunting, and just endless joy to listen to. So where to begin with it? The first track, Alone Again Or, this is the most popular song on the album. Has a bit of a mystic kind of sound to it. It's kind of hazy, surreal. Makes me think of just sort of like a lonely guy who's just sort of deluding himself of his own loneliness, trying to tell himself he's not as lonely as he is. It's a magical song. It's got a bit of a Spanish touch to it. I believe Brian McLean, the guitarist, has, I know he had a lot of Latin influence already going into this album, and it really shines on here, especially with that guitar solo. I love the groove. Reminds me of the Byrds a little bit, but kind of updated in a more, my opinion, even more interesting kind of angle. It's kind of that folksy, but rooted with a lot of the psychedelia and rock. And then the next song we have is A House Is Not a Motel. This is kind of a groovy rocker. It's a very, very subtle groovy rocker. I love this song and the way it starts off as a pop song and then it sort of turns into this just jam out section in the last bit. It's like, and it's so crazy to me because there's not even really, I think the lead guitar is an electric, but the rhythm is actually an acoustic. But somehow this song rocks like much as like a Who song. It's like there's just a shocking amount of energy that goes into it. You might think of this album as something of a mellow one, but there's actually a lot of really groovy moments, and again, a lot of it also comes down to the bass work. I'm a huge fan of the bass on this whole album. This song in particular just has a really driving bass to it. It really drives the groove of the song and really brings this melody into something really special. And the next we have one of my all-time favorites, And More Again. This is a fantastic, just beautiful. It's like a haunting love song, it hardly feels like a love song to a person though. It feels like it's a love song to like a ghost of maybe a dead person, or maybe it's ambiguous, or maybe it's a person that just exists in the guy's mind but isn't real. There's a lot of parts in the song that talks about how he's gonna hide in his armor. He's gonna hide, but then he has to see that his things are material. It's not even real. He starts to kind of like have this haunting realization, but he's gonna keep deluding himself. But he loves it. Whatever it is, it's just. I like to take it like the person's not even real though. It's like a ghost. It's kind of it gives the song kind of a ghostly quality. The orchestration of the song is just gorgeous. It's very lush, and really just brings such an interesting texture to the song. Then next we have The Daily Planet. This is kind of like a little hippie anthem. I love this song because it's just kind of, it almost just sounds like, like this guy's just talking about a day in his life, and it almost sounds like it's just too happy in a weird way. Just almost too, but in a way that almost feels like something wrong's gonna happen. But it's also a very laid back song too. It's got a great groove. It's very, just a very fun song all around. I could listen to this a lot actually. I always get the same enjoyment out of it. Again, the instrumentation. I'm gonna say this about every song on the album. I'm gonna sound like a broken record at this point, but it's all incredible, really. Fifth track, Old Man. This is a little bit of an interesting song. This is probably my least favorite moment of the album, but I still love this song. I adore every moment of this album. Now, this song is really interesting. It's basically a letter an old man writes to his younger self, telling him that he will find love in his life. He will find, these pleasures and desires he hasn't found yet. It's like this. It's kind of a hopeful song, actually, in a really bizarre kind of way. Kind of a folksy song, but I love it. And again, it's kind of got this haunting quality when the orchestration kicks in. There's something a little unsettling going on beneath the surface with all of that. Like, hey, again, maybe he's deluding himself. That's kind of what the album really comes down to. Maybe he's telling himself that he'll find these things, but who knows if he actually will. That's the ambiguous and beautiful thing about the album. It's delusional, and maybe there's something real too. It goes both ways. And then you got the red telephone. This is one of the most haunting moments on the album, maybe the most haunting moment. I like to think of, imagery of Vietnam happening in this song, just like these guys trying to hide themselves and, again, delude themselves that they're not in this hellhole of a situation. These guys are out in war watching, people they love die, and so they're going to hide out. They're going to go to, they're going to haze themselves out, or, just forget that forget that, all this tragedy is going on, find a happy place. Very, very haunting song. I think a lot of this comes down to the orchestration, the guitar work. It's a really hypnotic song. It's kind of an experience of a song, I'd say. It goes through a bunch of different melodies. It goes through a bunch of different, just shades of a kind of a crazed headspace in a horrifying situation. This is the dark side of the '67. This is the dark side of the psychedelic rock, but not in a loud way. This is like a quiet haunting. A haunting is the word I really, consistently use to describe an album like this. And then, man, this is such a weird title. I'm gonna have to look at it. Maybe the people would be the times, or between Clark and Hildell. Man, despite that being such a long title, it's an incredible song. It's one of the highlights of the whole album. It's a real magical quality this song has. I love the rhythm. Again, it's kind of got that Latin kind of touch to it again. And I love how it just kind of sings about like a day in the life of the LA hippie scene. That's sort of at least what it sounds like to me. This guy just hopping around all these different music venues, hello, goodbye, just hopping around. It really paints this picture. I don't know, it just kind of has a magic to it. It's kind of a, it just makes me feel good when I listen to this song. That groove is awesome. One of my favorite guitar solos. I love playing a song on guitar. When I pick it up and warm up, I often like to play this melody. Because I don't know, it's just such a pleasant sound, but also it's very catchy, slightly rocking, but not all the way with that. And then Live and Let Live. This is kind of a powerful little rocker. I love the guitar work in this song so much. The way that, guitar solo kind of kicks in throughout. It's just a perfectly arranged song, really. The pop melodies are top notch. Like I said, a lot of these melodies are like as good as the guys like Beatles and Beach Boys would do it. But it's in their own lens, I don't really like to compare them necessarily as far as how they sound, but it's really special stuff though in this song. Again, I love the guitar solo. And he reprises it twice. It's almost the same guitar solo, but it always feels necessary. You hear this guy almost like he's trying to break free from something that's holding him down, kind of feeling. And again, gotta look at the title of this. This is a big one. The Good Humor Man. He sees everything like this. Man, there is something about this song that haunts me like crazy. It's because it sounds so happy, It's like hummingbirds. It's too happy. It's to a point where you feel like you're hearing a psycho or a crazy man about to burst. Like these, like look at these hummingbirds. There's children on the seesaws. It's like and it's just like it sounds. So, it's such an overwhelmingly happy picture, but the instrumentation implies something's really off. I don't know. There's just something off about this song, and I mean, it really feels like someone's about to snap. It feels like some serial killer stalking, this really sweet imagery. You're almost like you're in a serial killer's head, especially in the last part of the song. Whenever the song starts to kind of break up, you just feel like at least I kind of interpret it like this murder scene's happening almost. It's actually really scary. I get goosebumps when I think about this song. And then we get Bummer in the Summer. This is kind of a groovy jam. It almost feels like a precursor to rap even. It's crazy. In the psychedelic 60s, hey, we got this guy talking so fast. It feels like a man sort of rapping a little bit. I love this song. It's really groovy. It's a fun song. I think it's one of those fun moments on the album, just for how lively it is. I love that groove so much. It's really special. Last song on the album, best moment on the album, one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. It's You Set the Scene. This song just does wonders, because it's a 3-act structure. It has 3 components to it. It starts off. It really reprises, I think, what the sound of the whole album is like. The first act is about just like this sort of setup. You got this guy kind of talking about how life's kind of been holding him back, but he's gonna keep facing it anyways. He's gonna keep going despite what anyone thinks of him, the judgment that anyone holds on him. This guy's gonna keep just going like a trooper. And then the second part, we get into a more hazy, sort of melancholic kind of sound, a little more laid back. I think a lot of this is just like this guy kind of contemplating all this, despite the fact that, I'm being held back. I'm going to live my life to its fullest. I'm just going to keep going. It doesn't matter. I love this whole part. There's so many incredible lines in it. It's just like, if do you like the part that you're playing? That's my favorite one. It's like, if life is a game, do you like the part that you're playing? That's a line to really sink in endlessly. But especially if you're at any kind of crisis, which is me, I'm the kind of guy that often falls into that quarter life crisis kind of mood. So this is a song that really speaks to me when those moods hit. You know, it's just like a reaffirming that maybe I'm doing the right thing after all, or you know, like, hey, you know, like, is this what I want to be doing? If it is, then I'm gonna keep doing it, no matter what it looks like, no matter how anyone thinks of it. Like, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna keep going. And it's encouraging for anybody to do the same. Really, stand up for your beliefs, your dreams, your ideals. Don't anyone knock that down. You know, life's too short to do that. You know, it's too short. It's too, you know, and just it can be too scary of a world out there. You gotta, you know, make your role to shine. And I love the ending of the song. It's sort of just like this life-affirming, it's time, it's time, it's time. You could say the guy's deluding himself of it. Maybe it's true, but, you know, you can take it both ways. It's kind of a, you know, an honest song, and I think that it does have a sense of illusion to it. But, hey, you know, sometimes you got to turn that cynical mind off and just embrace that. It's actually really uplifting. You know, I love this song. I love this song. It's one of the best songs of the 60s. It's one of my, probably, it easily made my top 5 songs of the 60s. It's up there with like A Day in the Life as far as just how powerful and just impactful a song it really is. It's Love's best song. It's the best way to close an album like this. It feels like a summation of what the album has to say. You know, there's you get in that air of delusion, but also just there's something genuine about it also. It takes the, you know, kind of the good aspects of the flower power era of, you know, living to your fullest, being your best being that you could possibly be for yourself and others. So yeah, that's Love's Forever Changes. It's a special one-of-a-kind album. You know, the band never even made another album like this. You know, they have some pretty good stuff out there, but there's nothing like this album. It's its own entity. It's its own world. Highly recommend checking it out. You know, it's an album that may not click immediately. It didn't click with me right away. It's a very subtle album. Like, it really takes some time to unravel and for its magic to really come across. But I don't know, there's just something about it that'll really stick with you. I think once you dive into it once and just take it all in, it's so unique. It's rock and roll. It's psychedelic. It's, you know, kind of even a little classical feeling. It's just, it's the way it fuses all these elements together. It just makes for a one-of-a-kind sound. So yeah, that's Forever Changes. Thanks for checking it out, guys. Next review I'm going to be taking on is Kate Bush's The Dreaming. So check it out, guys. Have a good one.